Hey guys, Dantix here, bringing you another Hogwarts Legacy guide. Did you know that most enemies have a particular set of spells that are devastatingly effective against them when used at the right time? Some even instantly killing them or making them attack their allies. Combat is actually exceedingly faster when using the right spell loadout, so this video will run through all the amazing spell combos, as well as recommend a loadout for each enemy type. If you found any combos that I haven't listed here, let me know below. Let's begin. My favourite spell combo to use against an enemy is Levioso and Defindo against the Dugbogs. Typically, Dugbogs take a lot of hits and are surprisingly deadly. However, if you wait until they start prepping to give you a tongue lashing, you can cast Levioso and hold them in the air by the tongue. At this point, you've effectively removed the Dugbog from the fight for a short time. However, if you follow up with Defindo, you'll slice its tongue off, instantly killing the creature. Here you see it work against an infamous mini-boss version of the Dugbog. If you face a lot of Ashwinders, you may have these spells already equipped, which is how I found this particular interaction. You can also flip the Dugbogs onto their back with Descendo after they charge you with their unblockable attack. It gives you a moment of respite, does huge damage, and can be followed up with spells. There are a large variety of different humans, and depending on their type, different spells will be more or less effective. They're either Ashwinders or Poachers, and then there's a handful of classes within those. Let's run through each. First is the Duelist, which come in both Ashwinder and Poacher variety but are functionally the same. They cast the Reductor Curse, which can't be blocked by Protego, but if you use Defindo, the cutting spell, as they're casting, they'll lose control and sometimes hit their own gang with that said spell, dealing heavy damage. I do want to mention that humanoids are especially vulnerable to the upgraded transformation spell, especially when you throw the transformed enemy into another. In most cases, this will be the best way to thin gangs' numbers. Next up is the Ashwinder Scout and the Poacher Tracker, who are the weakest of the gangs. They have no shields and every spell is very effective against them. Don't pay them much mind and blast them away with whatever spells you have on hand. The Ashwinder Soldier is another easy enemy but does occasionally protect itself with a yellow shield. What you can do is when the soldier is casting Expulso, counter cast Levioso. This will cause the soldier to lose control and sometimes hit one of their own gang with the spell. The Ashwinder Assassins are more of a priority to dispatch quickly, as they can summon Inferius, which take their own set of spells to dispatch effectively, which I'll cover later. Assassins can also cast the Reductor Curse, similar to the Duelist. However, in order to make the assassins lose control of the spell and hit their own gang, you have to cast Impulso. You'll notice that the spells that are effective against each class also counter their Protego perfectly. The next enemy is the Ranger that comes in both Ashwinder and Poacher variety, which are functionally the same. These are fairly easy to dispatch, but they tend to keep their distance, and it's usual to have Accio to bring them close, but it simply may be easier just to counter other gangs' attacks and send a Stupefy their way, almost always instantly killing them. Well, technically it's knocked unconscious, but it may as well be death. Their attacks are unblockable, so it does require you to plan ahead if you want to instant KO. The arguably most powerful class is the Executioner, which comes in both the Ashwinder and Poacher variety. They are functionally the same, but have different spell effects. The Ashwinder having lightning spells, and the Poacher having fire. Executioners have the most health out of all the classes except for the Animagus in wolf form. You have two options to combo the Executioner. First is to use Expelliarmus to disarm them as they're casting their lightning or fire spell, which you can recognize by all the sparks or the flames respectively. This will damage and stun the Executioner, letting you focus on the rabble first. The next option is to let the Executioner cast the lightning or fire storm, but to cast Arresto Momentum on them right after, making the lightning or fire linger on the field much longer. With this effect, you can Depulso or Accio enemies into it, almost always instantly killing them. It's much harder to pull off than simply disarming, but it can be more devastating. Either way, leaving the Executioner to last is usually the best option. The Poacher Animagus is the Ashwinder Assassin equivalent in the Poacher gang, but it's functionally different. It will require you to dispatch it very quickly, but instead of summoning Inferius, it transforms into a powerful wolf. There are two spells that are very effective against them. The Animagus likes to cast powerful Reductor Curses like the Assassin, which requires you to use Depulso to make the Animagus lose control and sometimes hit their own gang with the spell. When it transforms into a wolf though, you can use the transform spell to instantly turn them back into human form, where they are most vulnerable and lack the extra defenses. The last class is the Poacher Stalker. They love using flame-based spells, so naturally you want to cool them down. Casting Glacius as they're casting their Blasting Curse will cause an explosion, blowing them up and damaging everything around them. They're also usually protected by yellow shields, so Glacius works in multiple ways. Now, there will be multiple named human enemies in Hogwarts Legacy, but they usually follow some kind of pattern that's easy enough to discern, sometimes taking the role of one of the classes listed above or doing their own thing. You should have the tools to take care of them if you remember your Protego and Dodge. As discussed, there are a handful of spells good against humans. If fighting the Ashwinder gang, equip Defindo, Levioso, Depulso, and Expelliarmus. Another reminder that the transformation spell with the perk that upgrades it to explosive effect is universally great against human and dwarf opponents, as shown by the footage on screen now. So if you want that option, replace Levioso with transformation, as the soldier class is easy enough to take on without the counter. When fighting the Poacher gang, equip Defindo, Depulso, Transformation, and Glacius. These combos will have you ready for anything they throw at you. There really isn't much to say about the group of Pensieve animated armors. You can disarm them, but the more advanced ones simply rearm themselves. Just attack them with everything you have and it should bring them down. The boss is much the same, but it also charges up a big attack, and if you hit the orbits charging with the corresponding colored spell, it will explode, giving you time to follow up attack. I had footage of this, but I misplaced it, so you're just gonna have to take my word for it. Dark Mongrels come in one flavor, vanilla. They're the same at the start of the game as they are at the end. Very easy to kill, no shields, and can be counter-attacked. If you cast Depulso right before it charges, you'll more often than not kill it in one hit. There really isn't more to it. Equip whatever spells you like along with Depulso and you'll be just fine. Goblins, like humans, come in a few class varieties, which require different spells to dispatch effectively. Like mentioned, the Transform plus Ancient Throw combo is always effective, but let's go through each goblin and how to combo them. First up is the Loyalist Assassin. I found this to be the most annoying out of the goblins, so it might be prudent to finish them off first, or they'll slash you with unblockable attacks constantly. The best way to do this is to slow them down with Arresto Momentum. It both removes their shield and their ability to evade combos, opening them up for follow-up attacks. Next is the Loyalist Commander. They attack relentlessly up close but can also fire off spells at a distance. You want them up close and to leap at you. While they're in the air, use Descendo. It will break their shield, deal major damage, and stun them, opening them up to be comboed as well. Next is the Loyalist Sentinel, and because of their ability to buff other goblins in the area, if this is on the field, you want to dispatch it first. While they're building magic to imbue their allies, you can cast Bombarda to disrupt the spell with explosive effect. Next is the Loyalist Warrior, who'll swing at you slowly with its axe, or attack you slowly with throwing weapons. This is not a priority target, and to ensure it stays out of your way while you focus on the more important enemies, you can Expelliarmus the weapons right out of their hands. If you have the perk, throwing the weapons right back at them. I wouldn't worry a lot about warriors, as they're the easiest goblins to deal with. Finally is the Loyalist Ranger. They stay far away from you and shoot magical bolts from their crossbow, which can't be blocked. What you can do, however, is use your Ancient Magic Throw as they're preparing to fire. This snatches the crossbow bolt and throws it back at any enemy you're targeting. So when facing goblins, the best spell loadout is Bombarda, Descendo, Arresto Momentum, and Expelliarmus. With these 4 spells, you'll be ready for any goblin class and any shield. You can replace Expelliarmus with Transform once you get it for a more versatile loadout. Trolls come in a variety of different strengths and types, but usually are thrown at you as mini-bosses in combat encounters. No matter if they're named, armored, or just basic, they can be dispatched with the same set of spells. You want Flipendo and direct damage spells like Confrindo, Bombarda, and Defindo. Flipendo is especially useful when the troll does its overhead swing. It'll be the only melee attack you can block. Instead of countering it with your Protego, dodge out the way and use Flipendo after its club hits the ground. you'll flip the club back up and smack it in the face, doing heavy damage and stunning the creature. The direct damage spells are there because others like Accio and Levioso have very little effect. When the troll starts digging at the ground to throw a rock at you, Protego it and immediately press the ancient throw button to throw the rock back at it, stunning the creature and doing heavy damage as well. Remember not to hold in Protego, as you'll follow up with a Stupefy and miss your opening to throw the rock back. So Flipendo and Ancient Throw will make quick work of the troll as long as you dodge the unblockable attacks. Mannequins and even death minions only show up briefly and don't require any combo or spell to take advantage of them. Dispatch them as you see fit. Inferius are basically zombies, and what do zombies hate? Fire. They're completely invulnerable until you use either Confringo or Incendio on them. It's very simple. Don't get hit, light them on fire, then follow up with a powerful spell like Defindo, which seems to be effective against the burning Inferi. When they're attacking you with unblockable overhead swings, hit them with a Bombarda. If they're already burning, it will kill them with explosive effect. Fires come in different varieties, but unlike humans and dwarfs, don't have the same range of counters. They all hate fire, and you should really kill them with fire, and are all vulnerable to most magic except the big matriarchs. Equipping Incendio and Confringo is all you really need to take care of most of them, as well as Levioso to keep them out of your face. However, if you use Flipendo as Ascaria is about to dig under the ground, it will rip them out, instantly killing them. Also, while the matriarchs are rearing up to attack you with their unblockable, use Descendo to do big damage and stagger them. Shooters are annoying as they hit you from range, but when they're preparing to do so, casting a fire spell on them will cause them to explode. Remember, explosive barrels do major damage to spiders as well, so Transform with the perk, once again, is a great solution to an enemy type. Equip Incendio, Confringo, Descendo, and Transform for an effective set of anti-spider spells. So those are all the enemies and spell combos for each. No doubt I've missed a few effects here and there, so I'd appreciate you letting me know below if you found any more during your time with the game. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to do the typical YouTube stuff. Thanks so much for watching. Ciao friends.